Play and Trade Guitars is giving away this Gibson Custom Shop Les Paul to one of you. How to enter? Subscribe to Play and Trade Guitars on YouTube, and we'll give it away when we hit 50,000 subscribers.
Welcome back to Play and Trade Guitars. I'm John, that's Zach behind the camera, and this is Play and Trade Guitars, where we play it and trade it. And as someone who plays guitars and trades guitars, I'm not a dealer, but I do an awful lot of buying and selling, and I know you do too. So I thought I would take the opportunity to give you my top tips for getting more money when selling your guitar on the used market, avoiding scams. I've had money stolen from me. I'll tell you what to watch out for. And just give you the general tips that we can talk about, drop a comment, and I'm getting the most when you sell your guitar, because we know that we play the guitars, we trade the guitars, we got to sell them to get the money out of them to buy something else. We all know how it goes, right? Well, let's talk about the best way to do that. See if you agree with these. At the top, make sure you're subscribed. We're giving away a Gibson Custom Shop Les Paul. Entry link down in the description. In no particular order, here's kind of what I was able to come up with. Number one, pictures. I can't believe how many people don't put enough pictures, and I will tell you this, it doesn't have to be anything crazy fancy or expensive. Use your cell phone, but get it out of the dark room and take good pictures of all the angles of the guitar. It's so much easier for someone to assess the guitar that you're selling if you have good pictures of the guitar from every angle. And this is something that I see failed so often. In fact, sometimes I see guitars that the person should be asking for a lot more, but they haven't identified it and they have too dimly lit pictures, and that's just not gonna sell a guitar. The next big one, price. And oh man, is there a lot to talk about when it comes to pricing your guitars. I prefer to price OBO, or best offer. What this means is I do my market research. I look at recent sales on Reverb, on eBay, and then what I do is I get an idea of what I hope to get for that guitar based on recent sales, and I price it a little above so that you can feel great when you bring me down to that price, right? Well, if you are the type of person who prices one way and says firm, you are really writing off the whole conversation that can happen between guitar buyers and sellers, and that's a pretty cool community. Give yourself a little bit of negotiating room and understand that everyone on the other side of the deal is trying to get a deal too. Leave yourself a little wiggle room. Use OBO or best offer so that you have a little bit of negotiating room with the buyer. The reason I don't like pricing firm is, like I said, you're chasing off the potential buyers, you're chasing off conversations that can lead to sales after a few of those conversations. And when you price firm, you're really kind of chasing away just the opportunity to get into a dialogue about the guitar that you're trying to sell. The other thing is, I will say this, and it might be controversial, don't chase away lowball offers. There are people that ignore lowballers or say, basically, I'm not gonna even entertain this. Even I've seen thresholds on Reverb that automatically auto decline an offer that's below, I think, 66% of the asking price. And I think that's a mistake, because I have turned lowball offers into sales at the price I wanted. Because remember, even a lowball offer is an expression of interest in that guitar. Don't chase them away. Start a conversation, and maybe they really won't come up, but find out for sure that they won't come up in price, because many times I found out they will. Don't ignore them. It isn't worth it. You'll get more money in your pocket if you follow up with them and at least see if they're for real or not. The other thing about price, remember, you have to match price with time frame. What I mean by that is when you price, decide how quickly do you want to sell this guitar. If there's a range on which the guitar sells, decide, do I want to list it for a sell it today, sell it tomorrow price, or am I willing to wait 2, 3, 4 months for this guitar to sell? If you're gonna wait for it to sell, I think the best approach is, yes, start higher, but be willing to work down at incremental time frames so that it's not just sitting there getting refreshed, because all the people in your market are seeing the guitar that's gonna sit there for 6 months, a year. I've seen some on Craigslist that have been there since 2015 or 14, I kid you not, and the price has never changed. So price is really a discussion of how quickly you wanna sell it in terms of getting your price, right? So keep that in mind. Price it right for the time frame. That's half the battle. One thing none of us can stand on Facebook Marketplace is the inevitable, is this available? And a lot of people now put in their listings, don't send me, is this available? If the listing's up, it's available. I get it. They're really, really annoying. Respond to every single one of those with a question that the person has to offer. If they send you a, is this available? Send them something like I do. I say, yes, where are you located? Always hit them with a question, because if they are actually interested and you ask them a question, it's like a nagging hangnail that they just have to pick at. Because if you ask somebody else a question on the other end, it's much more likely to do what I said before, which is start a dialogue, get it going. Remember, these are like-minded guitar players most of the time that are just interested in the guitar. Maybe they don't exactly reach out with much when they say, is this available, and do the auto response. But follow up with a question that will get them in the game and hopefully get them to a sale. And I think that really goes a long way. Related to that, if you're gonna list something for sale, be willing to answer questions. This relates to the information that you provide, the quality pictures that you post. And then when people have questions about the guitar, don't ghost them or ignore them. It's not annoying for somebody who's trying to spend $1,000, $2,000 or more sometimes to ask you specific questions about the guitar. And when they do, answer them. I've been shocked at how many people are bothered by people asking questions, and you will put more money in your pocket if you just write accurate descriptions, take good pictures, and answer questions when people ask them. That responsiveness is half the battle, because we all know how it is to get ghosted on Facebook or Craigslist or wherever it is that we're trying to sell. That brings me to my next point, which is venue, right? So list it in as many places as you can realistically stay on top of the communication. You don't necessarily need to list it everywhere. I personally like to list it on both Reverb and Facebook Marketplace. Maybe you like Craigslist or OfferUp. Whatever it is, list it in enough places that it has exposure. I love Facebook Marketplace because it opens you up to the local market, people within driving distance. But for the most eyeballs on the screen, I love Reverb because now I can sell across the country or across the world, right? And when you do that, we have your good pictures, you've got your great description. Now you're gonna be attentive, you're gonna be responding to people, and it's all gonna lead to more money in your pocket. I promise that. One note on eBay, I never use eBay. I don't like eBay. I don't like the marketplace overall in eBay. I feel like it's very anti-seller, and I consider myself a really good seller. I don't do a huge amount of volume, but I do enough that I care how the platform treats sellers, and I think Reverb has always been leagues ahead on setting up a marketplace for people selling guitars. Before Reverb, I would have dabbled in eBay and tried to use eBay. Nowadays, I use pretty much two. Just my opinion. You can let me know which ones you use. I use Facebook Marketplace and Reverb. All right, let's talk scams. Don't get scammed. There are so many of them. I'll give you a couple common ones. We all are members of these buy-sell groups on Facebook Marketplace, right? Somebody posts a screaming deal. They've got a Gibson Les Paul for $500, and they've got 2 or 3 pictures of it. And people immediately start saying, based on the pictures, is this legit? And what you're forgetting is they might be legit pictures of a real guitar that that person doesn't have, which brings up the most common scam, especially ahead of the holidays. Be aware of people that are selling guitars to you in buy-sell groups from out of state that are gonna ship them to you. And always, they're gonna want you to pay with a method that has no buyer protection. This could be Cash App, Venmo without buyer protection, PayPal, friends and family without buyer protection, Zelle. And when you send that money and they say, yeah, I'll ship it, you may never hear from them again. In fact, I will admit to you, I had money stolen. I had a guitar I thought I bought from Ohio, and I was in a hurry and I didn't turn on buyer's protection. I lost over $800 on that guitar because I sent it Venmo without buyer protection, and it was gone. In fact, as soon as I sent the money, I got blocked on Facebook. It probably wasn't a real person anyways, and it just tells you that you've got to slow down. You've got to think, is this too good to be true? I fell for a too good to be true price. I sent the money, I didn't think twice, and that money is gone forever. If you're using Venmo, one more tip, this is kind of inside stuff, but it will help you. Don't link your bank account to your Venmo account. Link a debit or credit card. Why? Because Visa or these different payment processing networks actually give you buyer protection that if I had linked that card instead of the bank account, I actually would have been able to get the money back. But that's just something you might want to keep in mind. Just don't do anything stupid like I did, and really think twice before something is too good to be true. And being asked about the condition of the guitar, this just comes down to common sense stuff. As a seller, I feel like you have a responsibility to document all the aspects that are good about that guitar and all the aspects that are an issue with that guitar. If there's been repairs, if there's been modifications, take clear pictures. I always like to say, see pictures for best condition description. Why? Because I can try to describe to you the dings, but if I take those well-lit, accurate pictures, the person can see it for themselves and there's no surprises and no issues. Be really clear, be really honest about the condition of the guitar, and it'll sell faster for being honest than for being opaque or vague about the condition of the guitar. That brings me to another thing, and just in dealing with people in general, is it comes back to like simple golden rule stuff, right? And be polite, get back to people, respond. All this, not because I'm trying to give you a lesson in morality. I'm trying to make you more money when you sell your guitar. I make a lot more money because I'm responsive, and I have a lot of repeat people that want to buy guitars from me because they know when they message me or they get in touch with me that I'm actually going to respond to them. I'm going to answer questions, and the guitar is going to be the way I described it when they buy it. All that goes a long way for getting more money for the guitar that you're trying to sell. Brings up another good idea. Stay in touch with your buyers, especially if it's on Facebook. It's so easy, right? Keep track of the people that buy your guitars, because oftentimes these are the types of people that buy guitars pretty often. And if you can start to get even a small network locally of people that like to buy and sell guitars, you're in business, and they will be great repeat customers if you take care of them and you do all these things right. Couple more key points here. Clean the guitar and change the strings. I can't believe how many absolutely filthy guitars are out there that are, you can tell, have been sitting in a stand for 5 years collecting dust on every single rim and curve of the guitar, strings that are ancient or missing, fretboards that are disgusting. It doesn't take much to do a simple cleaning and restring on a guitar. It's also going to put a lot more money in your pocket versus just trying to sell the thing as is, the way it's been sitting in your extra room for 5 or 8 years, right? In your negotiations, you might want to put cash directly in your pocket, but don't ignore trade and trade plus cash offers, because sometimes you can come out far ahead when factoring in the trade that somebody is offering on the back end of your actual sale. I would say don't close off the possibility of considering trades when you're trying to sell your guitar. It might be an extra step of having to take in a guitar in the inventory and then sell that one to ultimately get the cash out. But if you have the time and inclination, you could come out far ahead by doing that rather than just a straight cash sale out of the gate. So another thing that causes some controversy, in my opinion, I don't know why anybody hides their serial numbers. I think it makes it hard to do the research as a buyer, and I don't know for the life of me why any of you do that. You can tell me in the comments why you do it. I don't ever hide a serial number when I'm selling a guitar. I'm not worried about it. I don't see any issue with it whatsoever. You can let me know in the comments why you do or why you don't do that and what you think about that practice. I would encourage people not to do it, but that's just me. All right, 2 more things, and this might be one of the biggest. If you're not doing a handoff locally with the guitar, then you've got to pack and ship it so well. You've got to make sure that you do it right. You don't want the case, hopefully you have a case, bouncing around in that guitar box. You don't want it overpacked so that it can't absorb the shock of a movement or fall on a conveyor belt at all. But you've got to pack the guitar in the right kind of box. You got to put some material in there. You can keep stuff and recycle it from, everything from grocery bags to whatever, the Amazon bubbles that come in all those packages that show up at your doorstep. But it really, the back end of the deal, if it's not a local pickup, you really, really have a big responsibility to pack and ship that right. Because oftentimes, let's face it, so many of the issues with online guitar sales come down to guitar breaking and shipment. And I feel like if you take a little bit of extra time to pack it right and pack it securely, it goes a long way for you keeping the money in your pocket and not getting the sale reversed if you didn't take the time or energy to pack it right. So these are all the kind of things as we look at the landscape. I don't want anybody to get scammed. It's really fun to buy and sell guitars. Let me know your tips for having good and smooth transactions. And then at the end of the day, I hate seeing people either steal money or getting money stolen. So we can kind of all, as we play guitars, as we trade guitars, as we play and trade, we watch out for each other and do things right. But let me know what you think of this list. Drop your own experience and comments, and check out our next demo. Check out our suite of videos on the Les Paul, Squier, and Fender, and let us know what you want to see next. Thanks for hanging out. Drop a comment. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.